Unlocking economic growth. That was the theme for the 2014 High-Level Caribbean Forum held on October 23 and 24 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The event, which was hosted by the Ministry of Finance and the International Monetary Fund (IMF, brought together high-ranking government and private sector officials from several Caribbean countries, as well as senior officials from the IMF, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the World Bank. The forum focused on three key areas which, if properly addressed, should help Caribbean economies expand: energy efficiency and reliability, their tax systems, and financial sector resilience. With oil and gas being the main sources of fuel for Caribbean countries, participants in the 2014 High-Level Caribbean Forum have agreed to embark on a comprehensive strategy to reduce their energy bills by diversifying their sources of energy.
Participants consider the development of renewable energy should be encouraged by increasing the share of them in the overall energy mix. Nonetheless, there was a recognition that oil and gas-based electricity generation will continue to dominate for some time.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, who officially opened the forum, pointed out that Jamaica was already implementing strategies to cut the country's oil import bill by diversifying the fuel mix. The government has been pursuing renewable energy sources like wind and solar while promoting energy conservation. The Electricity Sector Enterprise Team ESET is also working on a plan to replace old and inefficient power generating units with modern ones using cheaper alternatives to oil.
The committee reported to Cabinet in September on a generation plan which provides for a mix of LNG, ethane, and coal being the fuels. The electricity supplied by the country's long-term provider JPSCO and two of the alumina plants.
Preliminary studies show that this would reduce the cost of energy by 30% by 2018, saving the country about $350 million. In the meantime, experts who gave presentations at the high-level forum warned that the Petrocaribe agreement between Venezuela and some Caribbean countries may be under threat. Under the agreement, signatories to the agreement pay Venezuela upfront for 60% of the cost of the oil they receive. The other 40% is payable over 25 years at an interest rate of 1% per annum.
It might be only a matter of time until Venezuela is not able to afford any longer to subsidize exports of its own oil to the region, therefore something that countries in the region have to start to get ready for, because that might not be there in the next few years.
So we are building our reserves in a way to compensate for any potential occurrence. In addition as well we have been broadening the arrangements for repayment to Venezuela through the provision of goods. So far we have arranged a clinker deal which allows us to repay Venezuela in kind and not cash.
As part of the strategy to grow regional, participants in the 2014 High-Level Caribbean Forum also discussed means of improving the tax system.
We need to ensure that we don't have different states within the region competing with each other as far as investment attraction is taking place.
And that finding the right balance between attracting foreign and local investment and raising revenues should be the guiding principle in determining tax regime.
And so it was agreed that Caribbean countries need to coordinate tax types and rates across the region.
Participants stressed the need for a robust financial sector that safeguards financial stability, ensures strong financial institutions, and plays the financing role that these economies need to support growth and, as I said, employment creation and financial inclusion.
That too was a key focus area for participants in the 2014 High-Level Caribbean Forum, making the region's financial sector more resilient to shocks. Stakeholders say they will be working on a plan to strengthen the framework for bank regulation and supervision.
Cross-border collaboration should be promoted to limit spillovers when financial problems arise in one country, therefore limiting the impact to the region.
There was also an agreement that more persons should be included in the formal financial sector and that micro, small and medium-sized enterprises needed more access to credit to develop their businesses. The IMF also used the forum to commend Jamaica's performance under the Extended Fund facility. Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, Minzu, said Jamaica's macroeconomic foundation was stronger because, among other things, the Jamaican dollar had regained competitiveness, the debt had been reduced, and the business environment had improved. The latest World Bank study shows that Jamaica now has the Caribbean's highest ranking on the Ease of Doing Business report, moving to 58 among 189 world economies.
After years of struggling with a weak economic growth, with high debt, the first time we'll be able to achieve the government deficit almost close to zero, and the primary government budget is a surplus of 7.5% of GDP. By all forecasts, the growth this year will be stronger than last year, and more even important is for next year, the growth will be stronger than this year. But meanwhile, the fiscal deficit will drop to almost zero. The debt is on downside. So I think it's absolutely a miracle. It's a great achievement by the Jamaica government.
So what's the plan going forward?
Achieving appreciable, sustainable, and equitable economic growth in Jamaica, coupled with job creation, must be the prize for the extreme sacrifices our people have been making in our efforts to put our economy on the right track once and for all.
The 2014 High-Level Caribbean Forum at the Montego Bay Convention Center, placing emphasis on energy, the tax system, and making the financial sector more resilient. Critical areas that, if appropriately dealt with, will lead to economic growth in the Caribbean.